Your media, where you are.
Hi everybody, welcome to another amazing episode of On the Flipside. My name is Lebo. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, honestly speaking, I am so happy to be back in studio, right? Because I think we took like the longest YouTube break of life because we haven't recorded in so long. But that's simply because we've got a couple of changes that took place. So one of them is that, so if you're looking at me, right, and you're like, yo, Lebo is so clear, like her sound is so amazing, she sounds crispy. That's because we got a new camera woman who is standing right behind the scenes, and we'd like to give her the warmest welcome and the biggest shout out on the flip side. So Sino, officially from me, the host of On the Flip Side, welcome to your media. Now, the second change is obviously, guys, is just some of the things that we're going to be doing on the show. So, during that period of time, I was thinking, how can we get the show to be more engaging? How can we get the show to be more fun? So you will be seeing some new additions to the show to make sure that not only our guests on their feet and making sure that they are laughing, we also want to make sure that you guys keep engaged with the show and the content that we're going to produce. So today, I'm excited because it is the start of a series called The Power in Your Story. Now, the purpose of the series is for us to get amazing guests on the show to come and tell us a journey of how they got to where they are. The reason why we chose this particular series and the topic for this particular series is because we are living in a time where people just want everything to happen, or people rather have given up on life simply because of the fact that things are not working out the way they're supposed to. So we have people here who have pushed, persevered, cannot wait to have this amazing conversation with this gorgeous woman that I've literally been waiting to have since April. Like, guys, I got her contact in April, and then she gave me the date of June, and I had to wait for June to come in order for us to have her here. She's absolutely gorgeous. Like, I wrote a little bit of an intro, right? So besides the fact that she's absolutely gorgeous, she is a mommy. She is a new mommy. She's a marketer. She's a motivational and public speaker. She's an MC. She is a mentor, and she is the first princess for Miss Gauteng 2018. Now, I'm also just scared to say, I was actually a little bit scared to say MC because, I don't want her to come here and steal my job, because I heard she's really, really, really good because I had to do my research. But beside any further ado, guys, Zinzi, welcome to On the Flip Side.
Thank you.
Firstly, thank you so much for wanting and willing to be here. Thank you for being so patient. Well, rather, I had to be I had to be very patient. I wanted you, girl. I wanted you because, and one of the reasons why I wanted you is because we did have an engagement, right? Where you did tell me that life wasn't always rosy.
No, I think with everybody in life, somewhere along the line, you just miss a step. And when you miss a step, it's a ripple effect, I guess. So yeah, life has been not too rosy.
And this is why we have you here, because we wanted to actually come and have a conversation with you so that you can actually share the power in your story. So let's start at the beginning, right? And usually when, on the show, guys, I always want to start at the very beginning. Like, when were you born? Where were you born? What is your background?
So I am a small town girl. Okay. I was born in Batsworth Hospital. That's in the Eastern Cape. I grew up in Batsworth. That's where all my family is. So grew up in Batsworth, and then I left Batsworth to go to Durban. That's where I did my high school, and then I did my varsity there. But yeah, most of my life is in Batsworth, the Eastern Cape.
That's interesting because when I was actually stalking you, I did, girl. I had to. I need to do my job. But I did notice that there was an Eastern Cape, Durban thing going on. So are you Xhosa? Are you Zulu? What's the story there?
I'm Xhosa, Ntombi.
Oh, no, I'm Xhosa.
I'm Xhosa.
Oh, yeah, Tata San.
Born and bred in my button. Born, bred and buttered there.
Really? And that's interesting because I actually thought you from KZN. So when I was doing the research, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe dad is Zulu, and then they moved to the, I literally created my own story. So literally both KZN, both parents, Xhosa.
Both parents are Xhosa, both parents from the Eastern Cape, both parents from Batsworth. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Born raised, battered, everything. I am just Xhosa. There's no half mix, anything. Just Xhosa.
That's actually insane. So then you moved to Durban to do your high school.
Yes.
So how was high school for you? So how was school in general for you? What type of a person were you? Did you make friends easily? Were you likable? Were you the popular girl? I think you were the popular girl.
I was.
Yeah, you could see that. Girl.
I was popular. I had already built my reputation in Butterworth. So even me having to move from Butterworth to Durban, I felt like because it's a small town, I'd done everything that I needed to do, all the pageants, I had won them in Butterworth, and I was like, you know what, I just need new scenery and just go to Durban. So that's where I did my high school. So school was amazing. Okay. I was teacher's pet.
Top student.
Top-ish student. I had my strengths and my weaknesses, obviously language being a strength of mine. But then there were those subjects that were trappering me goed. So, your maths, your physics, your accounting. I think what I did, which was actually something that I didn't think that was detrimental, was that I mixed your business subject with your science.
Yeah.
So I did accounting on the business side, obviously with the languages, and then I did my pure maths, and then I did your physics, your biology. So majority was the science, but then the accounting part of it was the business, and that was something I shouldn't have done. I should have done like geography or whatever if I want to stick to science, and just done business stuff.
So it was accounting the trappering subjects in this case.
Numbers.
In general.
Numbers. Yo, the numbers. The numbers were having me for lunch, literally. They were baking me. So that was, but I was still a favorite. All the teachers liked me. I don't think I had a problem with any teacher, except that one time when I actually got booted out of maths because they were like, just go to maths later.
It's not working for you.
Hey? You can't be master of all. You jack of all trades, just, you can't master them all. But then still, got strike. I'm doing this, It's the determination in me. If you tell me I can't do something, I will always tell you I can do it, even if I know that I'm gonna struggle or I can't.
Or you'll teka.
But I'll still fight to at least allow me, to make that mistake.
Yeah.
So that's I was a teacher's favorite. I really had fun in high school. And then when I got to matric, I was an RCL. I think back in the day they were called prefects.
Yes.
But then along the way they were called RCL, Representative Council of Learners. Even the students, here and there. The students were okay with me. I never had qualms with anyone. It was good.
So do you think that it's also because of your upbringing that, you were kind of liked? Because I think, adults or teachers in general tend to gravitate towards learners who are respectful, who listen, who are determined, who are ambitious. Do you think that those qualities were qualities that, were instilled in you by your parents that became easy for your teachers to gravitate towards you?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of, when you are being raised by a single parent, they always try and instill everything that needs to be instilled in you, the respect aspect, because obviously they're on their own. They can't deal with the child that is all over the place. And also as a child, I think I also matured very early, where I also told myself that my mom is taking on too much. I can't be an extra handful. And then also the teachings from modeling, because also in modeling you are taught, you are nice to people, you sit up straight when you talk to an adult, you don't look at them straight in the face, etc., etc. So there's and also the African upbringing, besides your own parents, there's something instilled in you as an African child that you talk to adults in a certain way. You don't talk to adults in a certain way. when to step back from an argument with an adult. Well, even if it's not a disagreement with an adult, you know how to apologize to an adult.
Absolutely.
So being African has also like put in an extra layer of my mother's teachings as well. So teachers were able to gravitate towards me, apart from the fact, well, I always call myself an ambivert because I'm an extrovert with people I am familiar with, but I can tend to keep to myself. So the teachers were attracted to the extroverted self.
Side of you.
Yes, and also being a model, I'm very outspoken. So when they had to be away from the class and need someone to actually tell the rest of the class who they're going to choose.
You. Of course, yeah.
Of course. So they gravitated towards me because I also made it easy
Yeah.
for them. I remember, so my mom took me to like model, I could call it model A school at first, and then took me to model C. So from the model A to the model C, like my accent was different from everybody else, and teachers were actually attracted to that because they were like, okay, so this person can teach other kids how to have
Speak.
how to have a certain accent as well. She can speak properly. So when there were English lessons, for example, I'd come in and kind of.
So you were the girl that could twang.
I was the example.
You were teaching everybody how to twang.
Yeah, I mean, it was an in thing back then.
Oh, absolutely. On a
It
death.
was an in thing. Like, if you can't twang, like, where have you been?
Also, like, it doesn't sound right. Like, English doesn't sound right when you have the accent behind it. So you need to twang because then it sounds, I know what you're saying, because we had that thing in high school where it almost like, and it was funny because your accent was synonymous to your intelligence. So if you could twang a certain way or speak a certain way, the assumption was that you were smart.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's another thing that made teachers like me, because I could twang, I spoke proper English, I used my commas and full stops, and they were like, okay, fine, we don't have to necessarily bake this one. She's already baked. Yeah, she's already baked. She's good to go. So, less work for them.
It was. And the reason why I was asking about that relationship between being liked and, because I would assume, and this is where I stand correct, because this is where your experience will come in, that's probably the same criteria within the modeling space. Because you don't just win a competition. I think as of late, right? Zozi probably just changed the whole dynamic of what we thought pageants were, with how she was able to respond to her Miss Universe kind of a question. But prior to that, it would be a thing of, she's pretty. She's a nice body.
Yeah.
She has the nice height. Yeah. She speaks well. Your aura was probably one of the other things that made judges want you to win. Is it still like that in the pageant world?
It's still like that. Presence is very important. Interesting story. Because I did pageants back in high school. I was Miss BHS 2007. I crowned Zozi the following year.
Hectic!
I know, right? I crowned Zozi.
Zozi, we need you on the show. We need you to come respond. So if you are seeing this, please come through. We want to hear your side of the story. Tell us.
She then became, 2007, I won Miss BHS, which is Butterworth High School. Okay. And then Zozi was in the same high school as me, so she entered the following year. So now my successor then became Zozibini Tunzi. So now when I see her on TV, I'm like, that's my girl.
That really is your girl, because you crowned her.
Yeah, I actually thought the year that she entered was actually her first time, but she had entered years before, but then I think she had taken a break or whatnot, so this was like the first time. Now she's stepping in again, and I crowned her. I was like,
that's
yes,
amazing. That is amazing.
Now she's made history.
She really has.
She's
and
made history.
The thing is, now with you sharing the story, you are part of this history, right? Because her story doesn't just start at the fact that she was crowned Miss Universe. It starts at the fact that she's been doing this for so many years, and you've had the honor to once upon a time crown her.
Yeah.
I know. That's so crazy.
Back to the whole presence, and I think the most the one thing in pageantry is that you need to be confident, even if your accent is not okay. But you find that when a person doesn't have a particular accent, they kind of shrink themselves.
Yeah.
So that also speaks to the whole presence thing. It's still a thing. You must have a certain presence. You must speak a certain way. You must stand up straight. You must. Those are the things you get judged on. Posture. You get judged on making sense. I mean,
Yeah.
you need to make sense at the end of the day, especially when it comes to the question and answer section. You need to also have an element of being smart, because when they start asking you what has Ramaphosa done in the last 10 years and you have no idea, then that actually is the question between you getting a crown or you just being part of the top 5.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into modeling. So, yeah.
But I think because before we started shooting, you did indicate that there's some trauma that happened. Because I mean, you up until this point, you're sounding very confident. Teacher's pet, the gorgeous girl, the it girl. But somewhere along the line, something should have happened. Your confidence should have been crushed. You should have broken down. You probably said, you know what, this is not even for me. Like, life sucks. I don't even want to live anymore. What was the most traumatic event that you can recall that happened to you where you thought, you know what, I think I want to be out of here?
So the one thing that made me want to bust the dust when I actually failed my matric.
Yeah.
So failing matric, I could say back then was a huge thing because we came out in the papers.
Yes.
So, and it wasn't your student number like the years that were after me. It was your name
Name. Yeah.
that came out. So if someone is looking for boy Zinzi, they will either find me or not find me. And in this case, I was not there. So it wasn't even like you failed with like your age or, you know, you failed.
Yes.
Like I actually failed. That was the one thing that, like, I remember even going to check the papers, because you don't just go pick up your results. You check the paper first, because it used to be a big event.
It's like
the
at
paper used to-
midnight.
well, in that year, it actually came out, I think, at about 6-ish.
Okay.
Because they were still having that debate between student numbers and actually
And
having
actual
names. So they printed late. So it came out at 6 a.m. in the morning. I remember I woke up at 12 first to go check, because that's usually the normal time. Nothing. 6 a.m. came, and then people obviously started posting, I passed, So I was like, okay, fine. I guess this is it. Let's go do this. I get to the garage. I was there with a friend of mine. I get to the garage. We buy the paper. My surname is B.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
It's quick. Yeah. It's like right there at the top.
It's at the top.
Yeah.
You know when you actually read and pass, and you're like, no, maybe they printed it somewhere at the bottom, nothing. So I went up again. My friend actually said to me, no, I think we bought the wrong paper. They printed it incorrectly. Let's buy the next one. I'm sure you're there. So
But another paper.
we bought another paper, because I think I was so hopeful that maybe it is a misprint. I mean, there were debates before that.
Yeah.
Nothing. Looked nothing. I swear it went blank after that. Walked like a zombie all the way home. And I'm in Durban. So I still need to call my mom, because she doesn't get the KZN paper. She gets the Eastern Cape paper.
Yeah.
So I needed to call my mom and give her my results. Worst thing you can ever do. So call my mom. Obviously, at this point in time, like every parent would, she's screaming, yo, what's happening? You know, excited. For her, it was, which symbol did you pass with, rather than
Did you
did you
pass?
pass?
Yeah.
I think in her head, it was never a question of whether you're gonna pass or not. It was, if you do pass, or when you do pass, rather, what is it gonna be? So now here I am having to break it down to her. I didn't make it. For 2 seconds, she didn't hear me. So she was like, no, why? Wait. I'm sure you're playing with me. What's going on? I'm like, no, I didn't make it. I swear my whole world crashed after she hung up. There was no, because I think she was also in shock because other parents would probably be like, no, it's okay because they're reading the paper with you.
Yeah.
But she's on the other side of the line. She can't even hug me and say, are you okay? None of that. Hung up the phone, walking like a zombie. I still need to go pick up my results and see what happens. So picked up my results. When I picked up my results, they actually said, you can write a supplementary because it wasn't like dismal fail. You can write a supplementary. And funny enough, I had then made a decision that there's no way I'm going to pass. Right there and then, I was like, even if I do write the supplementary, what's going to be different between
What you did before.
what I did before the whole year versus
What I'm
revising for 1 month?
Yeah.
Because my first supplementary, I remember it was around the 30th or 31st of January. So literally I only had that time to revise. So if I failed doing this thing for the whole year, what's going to change in 1 month? So I made that decision internally. I then told my mom that I've made this decision. My mom was like, no, you're
Absolutely
going
not.
to write,
Of course.
whether you like it or not.
Of
So
course.
she then signed the paper because your parents have to sign the paper. She signed the paper. She's like, go back to school, go submit this. You're writing the supplementary. Fast forward, the day of the first supplementary happens. I think it was physics paper 1. I didn't go.
You didn't?
I didn't go. I didn't pitch. I didn't even wake up. That's what depression does to you. I didn't even wake up. So, with paper 1 and paper 2, you write one on Monday and the other one you write on Friday.
Yeah.
And physics came with paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1 was on Monday. Didn't even wake up. Then paper 2, then my mother called me to find out how paper 1 went. And also find out, am I going to write paper 2? She called.
I don't even want to know what that conversation went.
Do you think there was a conversation?
Oh my
It's
goodness.
a black matter.
Yeah. Yeah, we
It's a
definitely
black matter.
there definitely isn't any conversation.
So she calls me. She can hear I'm deep in my sleep. And this is about 7-ish, 8-ish. I'm supposed to be at school at this time because I'm supposed to be writing. So she calls me, hey, how was paper 1? And I was like, I didn't write. It's like, huh? I'm like, I didn't write. She hung up. Same time. I was like, yeah, nah. I really missed this one up.
Nah, you said change, man. Like, this is serious.
I should have tried and maneuvered through this, but you know what? When you make a decision internally, it's very hard for anyone to change your mind.
Oh, absolutely.
So even in my 19-year-old mind, I had made a decision, regardless of whether my mom liked it or not. I needed to follow through with what I said I was going to do. And what I said I was going to do is I would rather go to a school where I'm going to just do these subjects and write at the end of the year, which I was doing already. I had already started with those classes because I felt like I needed more time. So even after that call, after she hung up, I think we did talk for a good month. Because obviously at the end of the month she still needs to send me money for rent.
Yep. That's the thing.
So I still need to beg her somehow, but eventually she came around.
I think the interesting thing about your story, I don't know if it puts a little bit of pressure on you, is the fact that you were known as the it girl, and now it was like, oh, the it girl that failed.
That is, you know what, because I grew up in Butterworth, my first saving grace was the fact that I didn't write my matric in the Eastern Cape. So everyone that I grew up with didn't have access to that information. So that was the first saving grace. However, you still telling yourself at the back of your mind that someone knows. No, they know. they know.
They do.
They know. You can't go around it. It's matric. So even if they have a friend in KZN, they could always just say, as I said, with the name situation,
Yeah.
like the pressure is a lot because someone can just search for your name.
Absolutely.
And that's it. And the whole year, obviously, I've been posting which school I'm in, so it wouldn't take them forever to find it. So going from and also one of the advice my mom said to me, but I think it's a black parents thing or black families thing, where they say if you fail matric, your doors close
Yeah.
automatically. You have no way in, you have no way out. If you fail matric, you have closed your own door.
Absolutely.
So once that happens and I find out that I've just closed my own door, that's an extra pressure.
Absolutely.
Like it's an added pressure on top of the fact that I already feel bad. So I feel bad that I failed matric. I feel bad that people now know that I'm not as smart as they thought I was.
Yep. Because in their minds, like, teacher's pet, popular girl.
She's doing this.
Yeah, like,
Mercy out.
Yeah.
First in class to speak.
Always.
You know.
You're that girl.
I'm the breaking of the ice in the class when they start asking questions, you know. So now it's family knows, friends know, and in black communities, like your family is not just the people you live with, it's extended.
Yep.
So all these people now know I am a failure.
Oh my goodness.
And now on top of that, you've just closed your own door. So all of this now boils down to you're a child, first and foremost. I was a child. I'm 18 years old, 19. I'm not mature enough to know what I must do after this situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the worst time. So that's the not so rosy chapter in my life.
But I mean, you pushed through, you persevered, you ended up, doing what you needed to do, you passed.
Yes, I did.
So basically, you actually did eventually push through.
So here's the thing: when your back's against the wall, you have one of two options. You can either give up, or you can push through the pain. So those were my two options. I don't have a trust fund.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna fall back on that trust fund.
Girl, we don't trust fund babies, us.
We're not trust fund babies. There's no.
What is a trust fund? Come on now.
I'm not gonna get a way out. I don't have an uncle that has a company that I can just
slip through
and just find my way up. I don't have connections. I'm my parents are not in politics. There is no other option. There's no, it's okay. We'll find a way. They will know we'll find a way.
There isn't a way. You had to push through the pain.
I had to push through the pain. So this is now me pushing through the pain. I then did as I said I would, do the whole year back in matric. That was another added pressure because all the people you grew up with, all the people that were in your class, all the people that I left home that would have been in my class, they're all in varsity.
Yeah.
They are all living their best life. I mean, growing up, the only thing you've ever wanted in life was to go to varsity.
Oh, absolutely.
But now I'm stuck having to do matric.
Again, with all these other young people,
With all
people that are younger than me.
I mean, I'm doing matric with people that are younger than me. That they probably don't even know that I'm older. Think I'm their age mate.
I know that feeling very well.
Think I'm their age mate, and I'm just sitting here like, and here's the thing: when there was so first the marking. They mark in December for the rest of, and then the people who are writing a few subjects, I think they start marking in January.
Yeah.
So that meant when colleges are open and varsities are open, I don't have my results.
Yeah.
That's another year.
Yeah.
That's another year I have to give up. My results are not yet out. I still need to wait. My results only came in Feb. in Feb, even the universities that actually accepted you don't want you anymore because they filled up your space with someone else. Like, it's too late now. You need to either wait for the second semester if you're going for a semester subject, or you wait for the next January if you're going for an annual subject. Mm-hmm. So at that time, I then I had two options. You know, when you are studying far, you don't want to go back home.
Yeah.
Because going back home is telling everyone
that you didn't make
it.
Yep.
Pelil.
Yeah.
Your life is just over. She's come back home, returned soldier. she's
from whatever war it was.
Whatever war she was in, she's now back home. She's a fail pop.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So fail pop, and there's
no hope for you.
There's no more hope for you. That's another thing. There's no more hope for you. During that period, I lost friends. I lost people I used to talk to. Everyone I went to school with. The people I thought were my friends. And also something that I had to learn that was part of a lesson as well is that when you're no longer in line with certain people, they move on.
Yeah.
They move on.
They do.
They move on. And
that's painful.
Okay. But as painful as it is, it's okay. But obviously you're not going to take it well, because at this point in time, you're like, I thought the people I had, on my back and they had me on their backs, they'd still be around.
Yeah.
They weren't. It was tough.
I can imagine.
So fast forward, I then went to college to do my N4 marketing management.
Yeah.
Walking in those doors, college. No, you don't tell yourself that you're going to college unless you're doing a technical subject like your engineering or whatever the case may be. Then you can go to your technical schools, which is college or university, Technicon University. Yeah. I never thought of that. I was like, I'm in college. Yeah, this is the pits.
You were not in the UJ, the pits. You can't really say.
The campus I was on, you can't even take pictures without people thinking that you're still in high school. The building looked like it was high school. So I was thinking big buildings, big everything, That was what I wanted. But there was no big nothing. I had to persevere here. So put my head down. I was like, okay, this I have to do. It's a phase. It will pass. By the end of that year, I was literally the highest in my faculty. I even got an award for being the highest in the faculty.
Can we just pause? So we are talking about somebody who was, firstly, failed matric.
Yes.
Had to redo a full year of matric.
Yes.
Right? Also, you couldn't get into varsity because by the time they had to mark your script, it was already January and placements had already been made.
Yes.
So now you go to a college.
In June.
Yes. Put your head down. Focused, and the so-called failure became the highest performing student in her faculty, not in your course, not in your sub whatever,
not
in the whole entire faculty.
Literally.
That's insane.
Literally. And not only that, when I was done with college, right? I then went to Mangosuthu University of Technology. After my 3 years, I had an aggregate of 80-something%. My final exam in personal sales or sales management, I got like a 92 and I graduated cum laude.
Like what?
Graduated cum laude in marketing.
Okay. So we have like what? I'm sure like 3 minutes left and we literally haven't even touched the surface of Your sachet. We haven't even spoken of this story. But after this 3 minutes, I'm gonna negotiate with our gorgeous camera woman, because there's no way we can let you go without talking about the sachet. But I'm so struck by the fact that it almost seems like you went from zero to hero. Like everything that everyone ever thought you were, you actually ended up being. Maybe not at the timing that they expected it to be.
Yeah.
But you actually were exactly what people thought you were.
That's timing. It was not my own.
And it was you just pushing through the pain.
Literally. I wouldn't allow myself to give up. Neither would my mom.
And these are the kind of stories that we want to hear, because the reality is that that's the truth. Even if you do have a trust fund, the trust fund can only work for so long. You have to get to a point where you actually put your head down, push through and work.
Absolutely.
Because the trust fund actually is supposed to be the backup, not your plan.
And you probably also need to push yourself. To a point where even if they think that this is only so much you can push for, I mean, I think at that time, they only expected me to at least pass when I get to varsity.
Yeah.
I put myself beyond that. I was like,
now-
I will graduate cum laude.
And you did.
And I did.
Okay, guys, I think for now, right? Because remember, I still have to go, we have to take a short cut ad break, whatever. Apparently, we can't say ad break because we don't have adverts. But we need to come back to come and talk about, the sachet. Because, I know that there's a whole entire story behind how you actually ended up being first princess, and now how you're actually a mom and how life has actually started coming together for you. And I think this is also a very important conversation to have.
Absolutely.
So for now, let me just say, let's take a pause
After the break.
and we'll be right back. But thank you guys for watching this part 1. It's been, like I told you, like we were doing things, guys. We were doing things. We're making sure we give you the content that you deserve, because you guys actually deserve the absolute best. So let me go and, play with my negotiating skills, and then hopefully you'll see me on part 2. Bye.